Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Take a look at this headline. Bank of America survey. Fund managers keep crypto allocations near zero despite market growth. Bank of America, folks, one of the largest banks on the entire planet, reporting this. So let me let me cut to the chase here a little bit. XRP holders own more than Wall Street ever will. Think about that for a second. While most of the world still lives on the sidelines, you know, you listening to this have a position in one of the few assets that's actually set up for long-term survival and adoption in the crypto space. And as far as I'm concerned, it could not possibly be more obvious that yes, XRP indeed is an early winner of the crypto space. For anybody paying attention, you can just see that. It is too ingrained, it's too useful. There are too many businesses actually using it. There's too much support behind it. It's just growing. You can see the actual demand for it. And being early means you're holding XRP before the floodgates open, before the institutions pile in, before the big money makes its move. And when they finally do, and I say when, not if, today's holders are going to look back and realize just how far ahead they really were. And to be clear, that's not to say that there isn't institutional interest right now or purchasing right now. No, there certainly is, and I've provided plenty of evidence of that, especially over the last year and a half. What I'm saying is most of the money that will flow in, whether it's from a retail side or if you're talking businesses or on an institutional level, most of the money that will be in XRP is not here yet. Almost none of it is, and you still see XRP today hanging out around $3. It's incredible. But before going any further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. And so I will say before proceeding any further, kudos to you listening to this in 2025. You have beat the masses, and far less than 1% of humans have ever held even a single XRP in their entire lives. I could not more seriously believe this. You are on the cutting edge. You have beat the masses, including almost all of the institutions, and that's not my opinion. This is based on data. So take a look at this article, again titled, Bank of America Survey. Fund managers keep crypto allocations near zero despite market growth. Look at this. Fund managers still reluctant on crypto, Bank of America survey shows. More than half of global investors have no structural exposure to cryptocurrencies, with allocations remaining negligible despite the market size and influence Bank of America's latest global fund manager survey has found. The survey, conducted in September, revealed that 67% of fund managers have zero allocation to digital assets such as Bitcoin, Ether, XRP, and Tether. This underscores that for many institutional investors, crypto remains outside the bounds of traditional portfolio construction. Now, folks, I find that amazing that that's true in 2025. And think about this. The largest capital market on the planet, the United States, has gone full pro crypto. Not just a little bit, not being shy about it. President Trump has said, the war on crypto is over, and they're doing everything they can to greenlight and expedite adoption of crypto, including XRP, in the United States. So if you're not paying attention to that, and even if you live out of the United States and you don't think that matters, what is actually wrong with you? So people are going to be dragged kicking and screaming, and I think a lot of people have egos where they've been saying for the last decade plus that crypto's just not, it's never going to happen, blah, 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 magic internet money. And now they're starting to figure out they were wrong and they got to save face, but it's not going to be fun for them. They'll be dragged kicking and screaming. Like, this is happening. And look, they write, while a majority remain absent, a small minority have dipped a toe into the market. Just 3% of respondents reported a 2% allocation. Another 3% hold 4%. And only 1% have exposure at 8% or more. So you can answer this question for yourself and keep it to yourself for safety. But what percentage of your net worth is crypto? If it's higher than these figures, you are in a rare group, my friends. And we're obviously right. This thing won't stop growing. And yeah, the drawdowns to the negative, of course, they're violent and they scare people. And I get that. And some people panic sell. But the opportunity's always been there. I mean, I was here when the market was worth, like the entire crypto market was worth like 150 billion. And it's now worth about $4 trillion. It's not going to stop there, though. It's going to be worth tens of trillions and then eventually over $100 trillion. I believe that. Which is why these price, these price ideas, I was talking about this in a video yesterday. That's why like XRP at $50 or $100 at some unknown point in the future, or more than that, maybe double that, who knows? Without a specific time frame attached, that's not crazy. Having like $100, $200 XRP, that absolutely is not crazy. I'm not so bold as to predict it. I just stay out of the prediction game. It's just not my thing. But way higher, yes. And I will acknowledge happily that definitely is not crazy talk. Because imagine, XRP already has close to a 5% market share, and I think that percentage is going to go up. But what happens if you're at $100 trillion market cap for the asset class? If XRP only has 5% of that, you're already over $50. If it has 10% market share, you're over 100. And if the asset class becomes worth 150 trillion or $200 trillion, you can imagine what that means for what your XRP is worth. So yeah, you're here early. And most investors today have zero allocation to crypto. Again, kudos to you. Think about that. So let me say again, according to Bank of America's latest global fund manager survey, again, nearly 2/3 of professional fund managers hold absolutely no crypto. How can they be taken seriously? If I could never work with somebody who's anti-crypto, I'd be like, you're an idiot, Stick. I do not trust you. And think, the average allocation across all respondents is at 0.4%. That's the average hold. 0.4% for those who are involved. It's just wild. And on top of that, about 84% haven't even started making structural investments in this space. And so, again, now think what that means. If you're holding XRP right now, you are way ahead of the curve. You are positioned in an asset class that Wall Street and global institutions have barely even touched yet. And remember, these are the same institutions that once ignored things like Apple, Amazon, Tesla, until much later in the growth cycle. So yeah, institutions absolutely historically on key things have been late to the party. XRP will be one of those things. And so here's where XRP stands apart. It isn't just another token in a crowded field. It's one of the very few with clear, real-world use cases, established infrastructure, a 13-year track record, and a path toward long-term viability in payments and liquidity management, real-world asset tokenization, so on and so forth. You know the story. That makes it an early winner in crypto, and when institutional money finally comes, demand for XRP will only grow. So when you see headlines saying, most investors have zero crypto exposure, don't be discouraged. You can just laugh. It's worth mocking. It's ridiculous that they're not taking this seriously. Flip it around. That means we're still early. XRP holders today are in before the floodgates open, period. And if history is any guide, the ones positioned early in these assets, these assets that survive, like XRP, I firmly believe will continue to. It's already a winner, but will continue to be a winner. The ones that are positioned like that, thrive, and they're the ones who stand to make fortune when adoption really takes off. I mean, not that it hasn't moved in significant ways. I'm just saying, the most utility that's going to come from crypto that there ever will be, like, we haven't seen yet. But that's the same with the internet. That's not some sort of bad, scary, negative thing. It's just normal technology adoption, growth, innovation, so on and so forth. So yes, kudos to you. You figured it out before almost every single other human on the planet, and you're going to get yours. That's good being an XRP holder. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.